Good morning. This is AM News. My name is Denisia Poma Eji. Now we start on a rather sad note. Family of a 12-year-old boy who was reported missing following the torrential rains in Accra are in a state of shock at the news of his death. The remains of the teenager was found in the Korle Lagoon 2 days after a rainstorm caused gridlock and flooding in parts of the city. There's more in the following report by Adobia Asare.
Two days after it rained heavily in some parts of Accra, I'm talking about Monday, the 13th of May, 2024, the lifeless body of a 12-year-old boy was found in the Korle Lagoon today. According to reports, the boy, in an attempt to get home when it was raining, tried to jump a gutter and unfortunately slipped into it. Now, this gutter washed him into a bigger outlet, which then washed him into the Korle Lagoon around the Agbogboloshi Sekins market area, where the police have exhumed it for further investigation. This incident occurred around the Kotobabi Mamobi vicinity, and then the police, together with a few family members, were here a few minutes ago to exhume the body from the lagoon. Now, the incident attracted a lot of people who came around to sympathize with some of the family members. Some of them were covering their noses because of the stench that was coming with it. The body has been taken away by the Kotobabi police unit for further investigations. For Joy News, Adobe Asare, Agbogboloshi.
Now, spare parts dealers in Aboseokai are raising concerns over the impact of the cedi depreciation on their business operations. They say the weakening cedi has made it more challenging to import goods. They spoke to Sweetie Abochi on Citizen's microphone.
Importing from outside the area, but I since importing them, who be here saying to me, Sicano and Quaman on it. You say, yes, yes, that's why I normally call that dollars. Now, dollar also a quinimpa, not affect you,
saying they affect him.
Okay, so I said, dollar no quinimua, you have a free to a guy or saying shipment more, dollars, duty, dollars. What I said, no one can say, coffee and say dollars. It's a cost rare, see the tibia important, no, no coffee, the money buy. And so, no, he say, we bet me a young and sick, I don't young and fast. A bus I young retailers, no, never say yes, so. A TV tomb. Now, market, I slow.
You're saying that when the dollar goes up or when the cedi falls, they're unable to buy as much as they want to, and they're unable to even sell at the prices for which they can make profit. So if, for instance, you were taking 10 containers of products, goods, you cannot afford to even get as much containers as possible because your money does not have enough purchasing power to do that.
But the dollar no peja cost rosa. When you are crown to win ton, and any panel babaton can be way. Scacrono to Upejansa at the whole bar of Babas want me to oversell coffin another way be out or no bet me I and Adiana Ako. That is a wow crying man. Meanwhile, what's the sense can here? That's when you are to win ton. That is a whole true. Oh, it is a dollar no dear, a killing a hard drink, a hard business mind for a drink. Pa, and Okoya will be on way to me a fossil. Abuama dollar system.
Right. So not only are they unable to buy their goods, the citizens, regular, ordinary Ghanaians, transport operators are unable to purchase these goods because of the hike in prices. Now, recall that the various transport unions were threatening to increase transport fares, and this gives us a sense of why they are doing that. Because if they have to buy these parts that they need for maintenance to be able to run their businesses at double the prices, and fuel prices are also going up, don't forget that. So at what point do they reconcile the business they're doing, make some profits, and then, live some sort of comfortable life? So just to summarize or interpret, he's saying that there was a time that you'd see containers here every single day offloading goods because, you know, the business is booming. Now, you hardly see any container. And I mean, from my own observation, I haven't seen any container here. It's been 2 weeks, like he's saying, and there's only been one container here to offload goods. One, because they can't afford to be buying goods, and two, their customers and clients cannot afford to buy these goods. So this is how it ricochets into various businesses, because if your transportation system or transportation is so expensive, you're tempted to also increase your prices of the various goods and services that you apply so that you can also make some profit.
Now from cedi depreciation, let's zoom in into the financial sector, because the Locked Up Investment Holders Forum is demanding the revocation of the licenses of NDK Financial Services and 3 other financial institutions that have failed to pay their depositors' funds. Their meeting with the Bank of Ghana in March over the issue ended inconclusively. The group picketed the Finance Ministry on Wednesday, where they clashed with the Deputy Finance Minister. Kenneth JC has more in the following report.
Have you seen The Locked Up Investment Holders Forum has given government until next week, Wednesday, to address their concerns, or they will picket the Finance Ministry again. The members picketed the Finance Ministry earlier today to demand the ministry to revoke the licenses of the financial institutions that have failed to pay their deposited funds.
Yes. It's our own sweat that we keep there for our tomorrow. It's investment. We didn't put it there to get any profit. We put it there for tomorrow. If we are sick and we are not well, so that we can take it to feed our family. And now, about 4 or 5 years now, we are not getting anything. Respond, nothing. Nothing. We are here. We are hungry. We need our money. We need our money. I'm Georgina Tenge. I need my money. I need my money to feed my family.
Annoyed with this government. Not finance. The bigger picture. I'm a Ghana. When a Ghana boy misbehaves, they will tell you, it is because your mother did not bring you up properly. So they will take the problem from you to your mother. So I'm transferring the problem from finance to the government. So who should we blame? Who should we blame? You do it till your aim is achieved. Do you know how old I am? Do you know what that money is meant for? Do you know how long I have saved it for?
I've been on pension for the past 4 years, and it's a lifelong savings. Whilst you are in employment, you plan against the future. You make savings against the future for any eventuality, so that when you are in retirement, you wouldn't become a burden on your children. You have worked for so many years. You've made a lot of investments. You've come home and you cannot access your funds.
The picketers got frustrated when the Deputy Finance Minister, Dr. Stephen Amwa, arrived at the ministry and refused to grant them audience.
That you cannot even send a guy to your office to talk to him. Is it not an insult? Hasn't he worked in Ghana for the past over 30 years? Where you were schooling, where the guy was working. That you cannot send him to your office to attend to you? What kind of life is this? What kind of impudence in this?
So
send him to your office, my friend.
Yes. Yeah.
Send him to your office and talk to him. Send him to your office and talk to him. It's an insult for you to talk to you.
You should go to the office and talk to him.
You don't have any respect for your father.
There are several correspondences to this effect.
What kind of impudence in this? What kind of impudence in this? We have worked for so many years to bring you what you are.
Everything we have.
What work have you done?
Some are keeping it under their beds, and we have decided to invest it. Some have decided to keep it in their beds.
You keep quiet or I leave here.
Wait in the bone. We'll come back and come again until you give the clearance. We'll continue coming here until you give us the clearance.
The convener of the group, Dr. Anani Entry, who was eventually allowed to speak to the Deputy Finance Minister, said Dr. Amu assured of government's response as soon as possible. But Dr. Entry says if the response does not arrive within a week, they will be back to picket.
We had a fruitful discussion. I have briefed him what has happened so far. It looks as if he didn't have knowledge about what is happening. And I can agree. If sometimes it hasn't come to your desk, you wouldn't know. So what has happened is that he has, I have briefed him. He now understands the issues. He will go and find the letter. The petition, I've told him the petition was delivered by me, myself, to the office of the minister, so it cannot get missing anywhere. Plus the reminder. So he's going to take it up and have a discussion with the minister and give me or give us their response as soon as practicable.
The depositors have accused the Finance Ministry of refusing on several occasions to grant them audience and listen to their plea. Now, some of their pleas include declaring some of these financial institutions insolvent and revoking their licenses. They say some of the financial institutions are still operating but are refusing to pay them their funds. From the Ministry of Finance, Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
And the Electoral Commission has dismissed accusations by President of Imani Africa, Franklin Cudjoe, that it intentionally disenfranchised the people of Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, and Likwe in the 2020 parliamentary elections. It will be recalled that on December 6, 2020, just a day to the general election, the EC directed that residents in the SAL areas only vote in the presidential election. The constituents have since been without representation in Parliament. The EC says it cannot be blamed for what happened. Dr. Bosman Asari is deputy chair at the commission.
So, in 2020, Franklin Cudjoe of Imani, who hails from that particular part of the country, has said clearly that you disenfranchised people. Why do you disagree with that? It's obvious on the face of it that you did.
I think one thing our listeners and our viewers must know is that in 2020, the Guan district was created in 2020. And before the referendum that created the regions, the Central Kofi, Akpafu, Lolobi, Likpe, those areas were part of the voter region.
Yeah.
And they were carved out of the voter region, so they joined the Uti region. A new district was created in that particular area called the Guan district. So when the district was created, the Electoral Commission was notified of the creation on 10th November. By law, when you want to create a constituency, you are supposed to lay a CI in Parliament. And when we prepare CI, we send it to the Attorney General. So when we heard that the district had been created, we put the CI, we had already prepared the CI, so we sent it to the AG advised. Just when we were about to go to Parliament, the information came that Parliament had gone on recess for the elections.
But that's something you should have known.
No, we shouldn't have known. That's the Parliament's work.
But Parliament going on recess is public knowledge.
No, they go on, that's their business. So the EC did everything to be able to create that particular constituency. And when people hear the EC was the one that disenfranchised, then they don't understand the processes. Because Parliament created the district. So when Parliament created the district, for the CI to even be laid and matured in Parliament, it requires 21 sitting days. And 21 sitting days, we know Parliament usually does not work on Saturdays, on Sundays, and on Mondays. So when you look at the time we were notified in writing by the Ministry of Local Government on 10th November, and to even lay a CI, before the CI will be laid, you have to send it to the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament. Once you send the CI to the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament, they will invite the Electoral Commission to discuss the document. That alone can take about a week to 2 weeks. So practically, the time the Guan district was created, it wasn't possible for the EC to create a constituency at that time. So anyone who makes the claim that the EC was the one that disenfranchised the Guan people doesn't understand how the system works.
You said you were notified by the Minister for Local Government
on 10th November
in writing, but Why do you wait for the political head to notify you when this is a constitutional action that has happened?
It wasn't possible for the East to create a constituency for them when they have not gotten the district. This is how our processes work. And we've also heard some people saying that, oh, why didn't you allow them to vote in the Jasikai?
I mean, but the creation of the district is a constitutional, it's pursuant to a constitutional provision.
Yes.
And once it's done, the constitution lays out a clear process
and looking at the time
of the EC's own.
So look, which we did. Looking at the time, it wasn't possible. That's.
Let's move on to the labor front, where 3 pre-tertiary teacher unions in the central region have staged a protest in Cape Coast, accusing government of feet-dragging in the negotiation of their collective bargaining agreement. The 3 teacher unions say they are dissatisfied with government's handling of the negotiation. There's more in the following report.
The 3 teacher unions, NATS, NAGRAT, and Concerned Teachers, staged a demonstration through the streets of Cape Coast and later presented their petition to the Regional Coordinating Council. Central Regional Secretary of NAT, Abdullah Yusuf, addressed the media before handing over the petition to the representative of the regional minister.
Since the negotiation of our collective agreement in 2009 and after the 2020 collective agreement, the unions have known no peace, owing to government's continued failure to implement allowances agreed on as well as fulfill promises given. Honorable, the allowances we have been battling over the past 15 years and counting are 17. However, due to several considerations, we have reduced them to 4. These are 1. Deprived area allowance, 2. Extra assessment allowance, 3. The book data online teaching support allowance, and 4. Upward adjustment of the CPD allowance. Despite this gesture of good faith from the unions, the government is still adamant and has demonstrated bad faith. This has oftentimes culminated in high-level despondency and dissatisfaction for leadership. We have had to hang on a thin line with our members complaining bitterly. These complaints have become worse, especially as our members are reeling under the utter hardship imposed on us all by the current economic conditions in the country. We wish to emphasize that the last 24 months have been most torturous for the Ghanaian teacher, with no ray of hope of release initiated by the employer. Pursuant to the above, we call on the employer once again to honor its promises and commitment to our teachers by addressing our concerns over the allowances enumerated above. We wish to stress that we have had enough of the disinterest, feet-dragging, and unfairness of the employer, and will thus not tolerate this situation any longer.
The representative of the regional minister thanked the protesters for protesting peacefully and assured them that their petition would be sent to the appropriate quarters for redress.
Now, Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Mustapha Gbande, has alleged that the data of over 900 people have been deleted from the voters' register by the Electoral Commission. This, he alleged, was done on the blind side of political parties. Speaking at a press conference in Wa after touring some registration centers, Mustapha Gbande urged the EC to ensure peaceful, free and fair elections in the 2024 polls. Joy News' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
One major concern raised by the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustapha Gbande, has to do with names that he alleged were deleted from the voters' register.
We came to Nadoli Kaliu only to realize that they had only one machine. And when we inquired the reason they had one machine, The explanation is that they don't qualify the threshold to have more machines because in the last registration they did 1,300. But on the records of what the political parties have and what was captured in the Electoral Commission's database in the last registration was over 2,292. What that means is that over 900 voters have been deleted from the Electoral Commission's database, unknown to political parties, unknown to the individuals, and even unknown to the Electoral Commission offices, because they've not been able to give us any information. While Central, we found out that over 120 names were deleted. When the officer was questioned, he couldn't provide any answer. He says the constituency executive should go and bring evidence. They brought 120 evidence of deleted names. As we speak, they don't know whether to recapture those individuals as new entrants, whereby the Electoral Commission will come back and accuse them of doing double registration. But there's evidence that they had registered previously, but their data cannot be found on the Electoral Commission database. This revelation is very amazing, very surprising, very shocking.
APA was regional director of the Electoral Commission, Ali Osman Adamu, however debunked the claims of the NDC deputy scribe.
Please, no name has been deleted from any register. As far as the Electoral Commission is aware, we haven't deleted any name from the register. It is an assertion by the NDC that some names, you can find some names in the register, but I don't know how they even got it. Well, they said they have done some audit of the registration we did, and that is what they have come out with, and we are not aware.
So you think that in the case of the NDC, it's much ado about nothing?
Actually, that is your word. It's not ado about nothing.
Mustafa Bandi said the MPP has performed abysmally in government and has fears that they will not be retained in power in the 2024 polls, and has therefore devised methods that will enable them to hold on to power. One of them is the alleged person of foreigners to registration centers for them to register, and the other is the alleged registration of minors in the Lamuse constituency.
I have given evidence of the minors, and I have given evidence of officers of the MPP who were involved in these things. And so what are they talking about? We are not just speaking for speaking's sake. The people were driven away, and they know the only reason they allowed the people to go back is because they admit that they were minors. If they were not minors, they would have insisted and they would have registered.
Meanwhile, constituency executives of the MPP have debunked the claims of the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Bandi. In a statement released to Joy News, Secretary of the MPP in the Nandom constituency, Woyan Martin, stated that the allegation by the NDC Deputy Secretary are baseless, unfounded, and could be described as figment of his own imagination. He averred that the MPP is fully aware of the provision of CI 126 and 91 regarding the registration criteria of all registrants, among others, and will not do anything to violate the provision of the above constitutional provision. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam.
And that's it for AM News. But financial analyst Dr. Wisdom Dube will be joining us for the news review. My name is Denisia Pomaeje. Enjoy the rest of the show.